The Earth is warming, and this warming is causing the climate of the Earth to change. Ice caps are melting, seas are rising, and there are more droughts, floods, and violent storms. Scientists agree on the main reason why the planet is heating up. But climate is a complicated business with many, many factors. My name is Joe. I'm a physical chemist. I work with scientists in my lab to understand the climate by asking questions and doing experiments on one small piece at a time. I study a molecule called N2O5. Here it is. We know that N2O5 reacts with salt water to form a chemical called ClNO2. We want to know how much of the N2O5 turns into ClNO2. To answer this question, my collaborator went into the lab and added salt to plain water. She then added 10 units of N2O5 to the saltwater solution and looked to see how much ClNO2 was produced. She observed that 8 units of ClNO2 were made. This means that 80% of the N2O5 is reacting to form ClNO2. We had our answer. It seems that 80% of the N2O5 reacts to form ClNO2. But about this same time, another collaborator asked a similar question. How much of the N2O5 turns into ClNO2 in ocean water? And she did a similar experiment, but she didn't do her experiment in the lab. Instead, she did her experiment on the ocean. She observed that 10 units of N2O5 produced just 2 units of ClNO2. This means only 20% of the N2O5 is reacting to make ClNO2. What is going on? In the lab, we saw 80%. On the ocean, we saw 20%. I thought about this for a long time and talked with other scientists in my lab, until finally, we had an idea. What if N2O5 is reacting with other stuff in the ocean? Stuff like oil, or sugar, or acid, or dead fish. To test this hypothesis, I went to the lab. I asked myself, what could it be that N2O5 is reacting with? I came up with 2 things to test. The first is a chemical called sulfate. It looks like this. The second is a chemical called acetate. It looks like this. Both sulfate and acetate are found in the ocean. In order to do a proper experiment, I needed something that N2O5 would not react with. This is called a control. I selected perchlorate to serve as my control. My new question is now, will N2O5 react with these chemicals? I tested this question by doing an experiment using pure salt water mixed with sulfate, salt water mixed with acetate, and salt water mixed with perchlorate. And you know what I found? I found that the solution containing perchlorate produced nearly the same amount of ClNO2. The solution containing sulfate produced a little bit less ClNO2. And the solution containing acetate produced significantly less ClNO2. These results provide evidence that my hypothesis was correct. N2O5 does indeed react with other stuff, like sulfate and acetate, in the ocean, and that's why we don't see as much ClNO2. Having completed this experiment, we improve our understanding of the climate picture by adding sulfate and acetate to the reactivity of N2O5. But we still have questions. What other things might N2O5 be reacting with that are still out there in the ocean yet to be discovered? These questions and other important questions and results from experiments help scientists better understand the climate picture and better understand the factors affecting our planet.